Are you thinking about selling your home? Are you curious about the costs associated with selling your house? I'm going to break down what it cost us to sell our house in fall of 2023 and what it costs the buyers to purchase the house. I had purchased this house in 2002 from a family member, so we had a lot of things going for us. We had owned this house for 21 years, and we didn't have to pay capital gains tax because we had lived there for at least 2 of the last 5 years. Since I had bought my house from family, I did not have a huge mortgage. Our mortgage was a year away from being paid off. We had what was essentially one of the worst houses in one of the nicest neighborhoods in our area, and that means a lot when it comes to the price you're going to get for your house. There were houses down the road from us that were selling for close to $700,000. Our realtor suggested that we price our house in a sweet spot, meaning if people looked for houses between, say, $150,000 and $200,000, you might want to price your house at $199,000 so that you capture those buyers. Works for $199,000, $299,000, and so on. We were hoping to get multiple offers by doing that. And it worked. Before we put our house on the market, we did several things to make it more saleable. Our biggest thing was that we had to remediate our house due to mold. The remediation included removing all the carpets in the house, ripping out an entire wall. There had been a leak inside the wall that had rotted the sheathing right through to the outside of the house underneath our siding. We added drainage around the back of the house to hopefully help keep the basement dry. We installed a really big dehumidifier in the basement, and the remediation company had scrubbed the house from top to bottom to remove any traces of mold. So our house was super clean. We had already gotten rid of most of our belongings, and the few belongings that we did keep, we had put in a storage unit. We did not have any personal effects in our house, so we repaired all the little things. We repainted the entire inside of the house, and we repainted the outside of the house, which had already been on our list to do that summer anyway. We tidied up the yard. At this juncture in the process, you may be thinking, why am I selling my house? It looks fabulous. And our house did look really good at this point. So good, in fact, that we got 5 offers in 2 days, all above asking price. Several of the offers included letters from potential buyers saying why they wanted to purchase our house. They made me cry. And then I called my mother and I read them to her, and we both cried. It was both beautiful and sad to think of another family raising their children in the house and growing food on the property that we had loved and nourished for so long. We ended up going with an offer that was $56,000 above asking price and included a $10,000 down payment in earnest money. Earnest money is money that a potential buyer puts down, letting you know how serious they are about your house. It generally states that if they pull out of the sale for any reason, you will get that $10,000. It's important for you and your realtor to read the fine print on this because there can be certain cases where they would get that earnest money back. We had another offer with $30,000 in earnest money. However, the offer itself was lower, so we decided to go with the higher offer, feeling that we probably would have a backup if that sale fell through anyway. I'm going to use percentages here so that it will be more relatable to any costs associated with your own home sale. That way you can look at the percentages and compare them to what you believe your house will sell for. You paid 6.34% in commissions and fees. Traditionally, the seller pays the commissions for both the seller and the buyer's realtor. However, in 2024, there was a big lawsuit, and after that, it was not required for the seller to pay commission to the buyer's realtor. So I don't know how that works out now. But when we sold in 2023, that was still the requirement. Commissions can range in percentage from 4 to 7% of the final sale price of the house, with the average being between 5 and 6%, generally with half of that commission going to the seller's realtor and half of that commission going to the buyer's realtor. We had 1 year of our mortgage left on our house, which was 2.86% of the final sale price of the house. We had taken out a home equity loan to pay for the remediation, which if you've ever gone through a remediation before, you know it can be incredibly expensive. The home equity loan was 11.12% of the final sale price of the house. The total loan payoff was 13.97% of our final selling price. Overall, we made a profit of 79.69% of the total selling price of our home. But hold on a minute, what about all the money that we spent on that house over the past 21 years of ownership? What that picture doesn't include is the cost of our original purchase, is all the time and money that we invested in this house over the 21 years that we owned it. When the house was first purchased, there were new windows put in. We gutted and replaced a bathroom. We put new countertop in the kitchen. We replaced some of the siding with cedar shakes and replaced almost all of the windows in the house. At that time, the house was heated only with a wood stove. There was no backup heat. So in 2008, I put in a propane boiler for the heat. In 2010, the summer before I met River, I spent $30,000 on renovations for that house, which I found out later most of them were done incorrectly, and we ended up having to redo several things. We put 2 new kitchens in this house because we ended up dividing the house into a duplex. We lived in one side and we rented out the other side, which paid for the mortgage and the taxes on the house. River made custom cabinetry for both kitchens. In 2019, right after I had my brain tumor, our septic system bit the dust. So we ended up replacing it in the summer of 2019, and that was about $25,000. But we did it ourselves, and it probably would have been close to twice that much if we'd had to hire someone to do it. We had replaced a hot water heater, we added heat pumps, and we replaced the pump in the well right before we sold the house. My best guess for all of the remodels, repairs, and maintenance that we did on this house was probably somewhere around $100,000. I'm thinking it was actually more than that. So if we consider the original purchase price of the house, plus all of the repairs, maintenance, and remodels that we did over the 21 years that we own the house, I would consider that about 40% of our final selling price. When you consider the original cost of the house, the remediation that we did, all the repairs, remodeling, and maintenance that we did to this house over the 21 years we lived there, our final profit on this house was about 43% of the sale of the home. The buyers also had additional fees over the final selling price of the house. Their purchasing fees included mortgage fees of around $3,200. This included closing fees, underwriting fees, third-party processing fees, and appraisal fees. They also had to pay homeowners insurance and property taxes. This obviously varies based on the location where you have purchased your house. They also had to pay title fees of around $2,600, which included the title closing fee, title insurance, title search, the lender's title insurance, and of course a survey of the property. There were also government recording fees of around $1,100. So the total fees that the buyer paid were around $6,900 plus the cost of the taxes and insurance for the house. If you're interested in finding out more about the cost of building your own home, subscribe to our channel, and in the meantime, check out these other videos so you can learn more about our family and our building process. See you soon.